What's going on, everyone? It's Daniel here, heading back home. Well, today was the day I went to go see the therapist. And so how did it go? Well, it actually went well. I'm really glad that I got to meet him because he seems like a really nice guy. He seems pretty interested in what he seems like he really does want to help. So I'm looking forward to our next session. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit down the road because he's so booked up. So today was a good day. Being able to meet David, it's my therapist, for the first time. So the first session really is just him asking various questions. You know, he wanted to know things like if I'd had any, past trauma or abuse in my life. Wanted to know if I had any addictions, if I had any drugs or substance abuse in my life. And, that's not an issue for me, so it wasn't a problem. So the first meeting is really just a fact-finding mission. It's an introductory period, so the two of you can get to know one another. He tells you a little bit about what he does, a little bit of his background, and really he starts off by asking, really simple, easy questions. If you've had any abuse in your life, if you're prone to substance abuse, things like that. Tells you, one of the things that they really like to tell you in the very beginning is to reassure you about the confidentiality of talking to your therapist. So what else did we do? What else did we talk about? He wanted to know when I first started noticing feelings of depression. He wanted to know if I had anxiety, which anxiety is not a big issue for me. I tend not to be an overly anxious person in any regard. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. I'm usually pretty calm, pretty relaxed all the time. So he wanted to know about my family history a little bit. He wanted to know if I had a good relationship with my parents, what my upbringing was like. Seemed like he was a little bit interested in the fact that, or something clicked for him when I told him that I grew up feeling rather lonely, that I had kind of depressive tendencies. Not that I had really noticed up until this point, just kind of recently, but apparently I've had depressive tendencies from a very, very young age. And a lot of that came from me growing up essentially growing up as a single child. See, I have an older brother, or what I should say, I have an older half brother and an older half sister. My brother is from my father's previous marriage, and my sister is from my mother's previous marriage. Both of which did not live in the same house with me. My sister lived with us for a little while, but I want to say it was like a year at most. So when I was growing up, I grew up under two parents that that had all the attention to give to one child. And unlike being the first child, these two parents already had the experience and they knew what they were doing. So that meant I couldn't get away with anything. So all their attention is focused on me. That's a bad recipe if you want to have fun as a kid. But because of where we lived, being so far out in the country, and the lack of other little children my age, and the lack of siblings, I wound up spending a lot of time by myself. I was told, just like any other, young child my age, go outside and play, Daniel. And yeah, I'll go outside and play with sticks and rocks and whatever else I can find, and probably get myself into trouble because I'm trying to figure out how to keep myself from being bored as a young little boy. From a very young age, I was very, very lonely, to the point to where when I wasn't able to distract myself and just, play around and make believe like any normal child, I would dwell on my loneliness, and I would sometimes just walk around my property or my grandparents' property and just crying, just sit down somewhere and cry because I knew that I wanted somebody around. I needed that connection. I needed to have a friend. And I didn't have anyone. I wanted friends around, and they weren't there. Couldn't make them spring up out of the ground. Now, my family, my parents were very protective of me, and that brought about some good things and bad things in my life. I can understand now, being older, being an adult, I can understand why they did a lot of the things they did, why they raised me the way they did. And overall, I think they did a damn good job. I loved my parents to death, both of them, both my mother and my father. I don't blame them for anything. About the only thing I would say is I would have some minor critiques, yes, but that's life. Can't change the past. But I do recognize wholeheartedly, all in all, that I got to grow up with very loving parents. With them being so protective, though, it wasn't very common for me to be able to go play with other children, mostly because my parents were afraid that if I played with a lot of the other neighborhood children, that I was going to get into a lot of trouble, that a lot of them were up to no good, and because they didn't have the ability to directly supervise me as I was playing with these children, because they're, my parents are taking care of their own lives, just as adults do. I didn't get to just go off and go play with my friends. All my friends lived about 5 miles down the road from me, inside of a really, really, really small town. So the first meeting went rather well. Getting to know David, like I said, it seems like it's going to work out pretty good. He definitely seems like he's got the right focus in mind, and seems like he can really help out. So I'm going to be interested to see what ideas he has for treatment, because I don't know what that type of treatment is. Because when you're dealing with things like depression, it kind of comes in two parts. It can come in physical and mental, or emotional, I should say. There could be, a lot of times, there is a chemical imbalance, he was explaining to me. The chemical imbalance, which is why I am taking the sertraline, which is generic for Zoloft. And that has been very successful. I have been feeling quite a bit better since I've been taking it. I did tell him I was a little concerned that the sertraline feels like it might be sweeping the problem under the rug, kind of, though. That's my only concern, personally, because of how quickly I did make a turnaround, going from, wanting to just, break down and curl up in the fetal position at work, to going to being able to go through my day as if there's no problem. The reason I say that, the reason I am concerned, is because I know that a problem doesn't just go away. you may be able to ignore it, but it doesn't just go away. And there's a reason why you felt that. It's not a good superpower to not feel pain. That's a bad superpower as far as superpowers go. Sure, you don't feel the pain of being injured, but it does not by any means take the injury away. What you want is Deadpool's healing factor. That's the power that you want. You want to be able to heal. And Deadpool feels pain. Wolverine feels pain. But they heal from it. And that's what we're trying to do. That's the goal, is to heal. Now, the pill that I'm taking, the sertraline that I'm taking, is, I would say it's kind of like having your pain receptors turned off. You know, the good news is it doesn't make me feel numb, which is something I was very concerned that it would do. I was afraid that it would just numb me down to where I just don't feel. I do still have my emotions intact. I still feel happiness. I feel sadness when I hear about, somebody torturing a dog on Facebook or something like that. It still brings a tear to my eye, just as it would normally. So I still have my emotions about me, but I'm not dwelling on how horrible I feel like my life is on a constant basis. That's not really a thought that really goes through my head. Although I know that my life is not where it should be. That's where therapy comes in. Because I feel inadequate in my life because of reasons. Emotional, crazy, whatever reasons. I don't feel that way because I have a chemical imbalance. There is something that caused me to feel that way. So the therapy is to help fix the actual cause of the problem and hopefully help me to work out why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, but more importantly, what I can do to make things better. What I can do to help keep myself from feeling so horrible. What I can do to make the pain go away. I know this video is a bit longer than some of the rest. Kind of just had a lot to cover in this one. I will keep you guys posted as my therapy continues and keep you up to date on what's going on my journey to wellness. But that's it for today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. So until next time, be awesome and take care of yourselves.